now, and Agita's there, and both the boys are here. It's nice and cool in here. The air conditioning on. It's very hot outside. And we've got two of the ferals there. We've got BC. Hi, BC, sweetie, love you. And Peanut. Hi, BC, Peanut, love you. And Jill must be nearby. It's very hot out. It's getting a little cooler now. So they've come out. I think earlier they were under the deck or in the bush. There's a lot to talk about here, and I don't go into personal details just because other people are involved, and there's issues. But I don't want to reveal too much, in the podcast. But I will say that I am planning on going to Toronto, with the inside kids, so with the Agita, lcee, and Finn. And we're leaving tonight, hopefully soon, after I feed the outside ones and give the keys to the neighbor. Very kindly, once more, agreed to look after the ferals. And it became a very last-minute trip, because with everything happening on the house and hiring the contractor, and it can't start for a month, and it's not covered by insurance, and starting to look for tiles and stuff like that, and counters, and then the expense of all of that. And then I had to get an appointment with my doctor, and the only one I could get was this coming Monday. And then she goes away for vacation and doesn't come back till July 18th, and I need my diabetes medication, prescription, and she doesn't do refills anymore. She won't give me a prescription without seeing me in person. So this was the last appointment. It was Monday, so I booked it. And then my neighbor said she can look after the outside cats. And also, with all of this mess here, I thought it was a good idea to, for us to have a little break and to go there, because, I have to sort of keep everybody in that section, move from here to there. And the boys were really sticking their noses in all the mess again today. Yeah, so I didn't think it was really a very bad idea when, for the trip. But then there's a little complication, because, I was in touch, and they contacted me, somebody I know there, and I won't give details, that I have played with before. So it was like, and they had contacted me, and I said, well, I don't know when I'm next coming to the city, and, I got a lot of expenses now with the house, and, extra funds to slither are going to be very tight. It turned out that I had to go after all. And there is a situation, there's an opportunity, which, and I won't talk more about it, but there is an opportunity for something that I really like, a situation also that really, it's really, whatever, it's very, very strong pulls for me, very, very strong pulls. So now I am going, and I've said I'll let them know by this evening whether I can. I really, really want to, but it's not a good idea. I'm here at the doctor's office, just waiting for the appointment. Got here right on time. Bye for now. Heard from the contractor, not the contractor, the counter guy, and he needed some more things about the measurements. So I sent him a couple more pictures to get an idea of the kitchen, and also gave him the contractor's number. Doing all that from here. Bye for now. Doctor's appointment at all time was a casino here in Brampton, on the way to where I'm going to have lunch with my friend. Got 3:43. So making up a little bit for yesterday's losses. Bye for now. Everybody, we're here in Toronto. Agita's there. One of the boys is there. The other boy is there. It's about 6:30 in the morning on, day is it? Tuesday, I think. And we came on Sunday night. I don't know if I taped after that. I may have a bit. I did go to the doctor. I had a lunch with a friend. Then I went to a casino because the pulls are very strong. Very, very, very strong. But then I binged, and this has been my worst yet, worse. Most dangerous, without a doubt, without a shadow of a doubt. Journey into shadow, and the most dangerous yet, because I just barely survived it. And it's always a risk, and that's part of and I regress, and I get completely possessed. I don't talk about the details here just because they're very personal. Others are involved. And, so I talk generally, but I write the details out. And I share some of them with close friends, but, they kind of know what they're about. I've sort of talked generally about them in podcasts, but it's a regression. It's a sort of an anima possession. It's, it's very, very, regressed for me, and very a release of stuff, of a lot of stuff, But and really, the only person that gets harmed is myself. But and this time I got very, very close to being harmed by people. And again, I'm not going to talk too much. I don't talk about the aspects of it, but it was almost like Just picking up takeout from this Indian place. It's open late till 11:30, so 10:30 already now. So I left the casino even up a bit, I guess. This point is just like, and I haven't slept. So last night because of the slither and the wind. So I'm just gonna go home, quickly feed the kids, have the tandoori shrimp and naan, go to bed. And tomorrow we're going back to the house, and I'm looking forward to being back to the house and seeing the ferals. This last binge was really, what's happening to me, it gets worse and worse. So I really have to do something. I don't know. I fight it, and then something happens. So, but I think it'll be better in the country because there's no options there. Bye for now. It's now the next day, and I've sort of been in a bad place, a good place because I'm back and I'm with the kids, but it's just really struggling not to go back into that world, but because of how deep I went, and just knowing, how far into shadow I went and possible consequences, and, people involved, as I said. But I did get away that night, so I think I'm okay, but it's like, I really turn into someone else. It's not a good scene, so, and I hate what I see in myself, so I've got to pull myself back to the daylight world. It's that whole metaphor I've used of, and when I'm there, I can't talk about any of this, but, I regress, but I have to come back to the ordinary world, with the knowledge of myself, really, how deep I can go into myself and what's there. And in shadow, you usually don't find good stuff. So, but I have to stay off the substances and stay out of the world. I really almost died on the last one. I really did. So I'm just still reeling from that. So that's where the bad feelings are coming from. It's kind of residue. It's a struggle, not the struggle to go back to party, but the struggle to process what I found out about myself and how close I came. How close? Cat's hair. I came from not coming back, in which case I wouldn't have been able to look after these people, my ferals, my friends, and there are still things I need to do because I must publish, because here I talk about all of the stuff. Generally, I can't give details, just again because others are involved, legal issues are involved. I don't want to, I can't open up that. But if I write about it, and then it can always change, it's fictionalized. Whereas here, unless I say, I'm making this up and it's not, I could, but I just don't want to. It's just too public a forum, If it's published, then the publisher's lawyers go through what can be sued and what's legal and what you can say and what you can't say and all of that stuff. So those are all the hoops to jump through, but I would have to do it because that's really the only, as I was told, it's the only purpose of how, where I go, is that I can come back. Somehow I am allowed to come back from those places. Other people, they can't, they don't have these options, and I have the options, and I'm very lucky. I'm very, very fortunate, I realize that I can pack up the cats and go, and I do have the cats, and I can pack up the cats and I can go to the country, I have the house, so, but I really have to process this, and the only way is by writing it, so I have to go. So I've been dealing with that. Last couple of days I've just been struggling with not so much going to party again, but what happened on the last one and processing it. So now everybody just got back, let the inside kids out into the house, or So they're exploring, and I came out to feed these three, Beefy, Jill, and Peanut. Peanut, just behind the bush there. All three of them. And I put some treats. Peanut was eating them. So, and I put the food there. I'll move it to the side. Believe it or not, even in spite of how dangerous the last wind was and how I just look at the fireflies, and I just barely made it back alive. I get here and I'm like, oh, relief, my kids, my ferals, and I'm out of the big city and temptation, and the pools are still there. It's still there because just the further you go in, the stronger the pulls get, so it's okay. I will do it. I've done this before and I'll do it again. I'll do it for for my kids and my friends and my neighbors who are my friends, and for the things I still have to do. I have to publish my writing because someone has to write about the world, non-judgmentally, so as non-judgmentally as possible. And I'm very open in my writing. I can't be open in these podcasts just because of the nature of the material. I have to be a little predictive. This is sort of a rough return just because went so deep and almost didn't come back, and very dangerous, very rough, and I'm just like, and I don't like what happened to me, but what I became, because I'm going further and further into shadow, and it's attracting more and more kind of danger and kind of what I put out there, so it gets me into really trouble. So I'm like, hello everybody. It was 11:11 a couple of minutes ago, but one of the boys is there, and I think that's Finn, but I'm not sure. And then the other boy is here. And I think this is lcee, but I'm not sure. Okay, it's one of the two. And then we've got Agita here. And the ferals were all outside. I fed them, but I cut the back grass, so they went to hide. So they'll come out when they realize that the lawn mowing is completely done. Now, I don't know where to begin on this because there's just so much. And again, I don't reveal details in this, but I will in the writing. And I really don't hold back. I see what's happening to me. I'm very distressed by it, by what I turn into. I mean, it's pure shadow, and it's accelerating, and I'm losing, ego functions, and I'm becoming, I'm becoming something that I really don't like. But I guess that's what shadow is. It's the absolute opposite. And that's what when I do shadow, I do it extreme. I turn into the opposite of what I am normally. Normally, I'm intelligent, articulate, considerate, and, compassionate, usually. I'm the opposite of all of those. I don't think I need to name them. But I was called greedy and selfish, which I do become. I become on a lot of substances, but I do the substances. I'm not blaming it on the substances. I'm not doing it. It's not an excuse. I do them because I guess I want to go there, or at some level I want to go there because that's a part of me, and it's kind of, but it's getting out of control. And if I don't stop, as I said, something very bad almost happened on the last one, but then I was in such a state that each time I go there, something like that will happen, and at the very least, legal issues. I was lucky I didn't get killed. I was lucky I didn't get beaten up. I was lucky I didn't get robbed. I came very close to it. I was lucky I did not get arrested. And to add to that, I was lucky I didn't hurt anyone myself. I mean, maybe just my actions are completely inconsiderate and selfish and greedy because I just want more of everything, because that's what I turn into, But I didn't kill anyone. I didn't, I didn't coerce anyone. But I could, and that's the thing that I've been examining. That's the I could, I'm almost at that point where I could, someone I know who works in the court system said that, knows that I get paranoid, and says that when they get really paranoid, they've seen people actually like kill someone or have, didn't see them directly, but end up in the court because of stuff like that. Now, I don't think but you never know, because, when I'm on that much substance, I'm not myself. I turn into something else. I regress something primordial, and it's actually called evil, which, I'm not a serial killer or anything, but yeah, I become very, very greedy. And very selfish, and I just don't think about anyone else, and that's the opposite of what I normally am, so, and I can't talk. Other people are talking, and there was some interesting discussions, but I couldn't contribute. But, my own framework of the shadow and the, borrowed from Jung, and the heroic journey, so-called. I mean, I'm the anti-hero. I'm no hero, I know that. The anti-hero, but the stages are similar, and the descent into the underworld, and then the attempted return. And I keep trying to return to the ordinary world, and somebody said, you have so much. Why would you want to go? Why would you want to give this up or go there? And I go, I do have so much, but there's still, there's that whole, the shadow is very, very powerful, and it does, and I'm not making excuses, but there are reasons why, it's kind of expressing in a certain way. And usually going back, and my analyst used to think it was stuff connected with early childhood, but I'm not using that as an excuse. I'm just going, many things have come together, let's just say, at various levels. And in a way, the fact that I have all of this, and I have the funds without having to steal or, sell drugs, means that I'm able to explore. I'm able to go into really, really dark places, and I do. And someone else was like thought I was just bored, and I'm, oh, not really, because I guess I do. I've got my kids, I get my writing, I get my, I got my podcasts, I read, I love this town, so I'm not really, well, okay, I do get a bit bored here. There aren't the restaurants and but this whole journey, this journey into darkness, this began before I came out here. Coming out here was supposed to be a way out, which, I don't think the way out is that easy. Now, this morning I was also thinking about, I think I mentioned this, I covered a lot of this shit in podcasts over the years, the whole shadow thing, and the heroic journey, and the descent into hell, and all of that stuff, and and hell really being shadow. It's internal. It's me. It's what happens to me, and that actually I did mention a long time ago, when it was much milder than what it is now. I mentioned, it was compulsive. But it was much, much milder than what it is now. And I did mention Heart of Darkness, and Joseph Conrad, and Kurtz, Captain Kurtz, the captain who goes into the African wilderness, and then he sort of becomes shadow. He becomes like the leader, and he becomes completely kind of unethical, and he's no longer part of the army. So they send a captain to go get him. In the movie, the Apocalypse Now, which was roughly based on that, but shifted to Vietnam. In the movie, the Martin Sheen character is the one who goes on his own journey down the river towards darkness, but he is able to come back. He is able to return. Captain Kurtz has gone, or Major Kurtz, whatever, Kurtz, I think Major. Kurtz has gone too far to be able to come back, to return, and he dies. And I was talking to my, some time ago, to my cousin, my younger cousin, who's now a lawyer, and we were talking about all of this, and he had seen the movies, and he knew about my struggles and my trying to frame it, and he was like going, I think we drank a toast to my coming back, my being the Martin Sheen character, not the Marlon Brando character. Unfortunately, I'm turning into, and I almost did die. I almost did, and I brought it on myself because of where I go and what I do and what happens to me. So it's it's not a completely off the wall analogy. Now again, some of these things came up during that thing, but I can't articulate any of this. It's only when I come back, and again, I'm not justifying, I'm not rationalizing. I am to a certain degree, but I'm like trying to just understand, hoping that this will redirect. It hasn't so far. All my attempts of understanding and my frameworks and everything, and the danger that I went into the other night, and the fact that I almost didn't survive, pulls are still there. It's a very, very basic thing, so very primordial. I don't want to say more about it here. I will now try to write, and that's what I'm going to do right now. Now, just a little bit later, and we've got both the boys there under the bed. One there, Agita there. And the ferals, I think, are still under the deck because it's very hot, and also I cut the grass at the back, so they went into hiding and just staying there. Hopefully they've got a cool spot. One more thing I wanted to add. So after what I just taped, I replied to a friend. She was saying, hopefully today will go better, day 4 better than day 3. It's been very tough up to now, but so I replied to her, and some of the thoughts that I shared in the previous footage, which I may or may not include, but Heart of Darkness and Conrad and that stuff, Apocalypse Now. I did actually have a dream about a post-apocalyptic world, and my being with a family and going from house to house, and one of the houses ended up being the house that I grew up in. But so possibly. But then, and then I was going into an underground space, a crawl space, and there was a cave, and I was going, kind of again very primordial. So all of the stuff, I replied to my friend a little bit about all of this, and I also mentioned, which I forgot to mention in what I was rambling about earlier, the metaphor I've used before, and the whole thing in the podcast about William S. Burroughs, the writer, the beat writer who accidentally killed his wife while very, very high on heroin, and then got into all kinds of other things, and he believed that he was possessed by a malevolent spirit that kind of possessed him when he killed his wife, and that was the cause of the addiction. And I don't quite think that it's possible, but I'm open to everything, But I really do lean more towards the possession model for addiction, particularly the form of it and the anima possession that I seem to be experiencing. I tend to lean more towards the possession model than the medical model. I'm Sonia, and I just had I came for rechanneling, and I just had $500 win on this, like 50, 150 on the other ones. So I'm definitely up for the day. I'm walking out to go get something to eat, and then we'll see. But this was the Eagles machine, not the 7 machine. Hello everybody, I'm here at a bar. It's got a patio. I was here a while back, and this group of young men, they're on a quest to drink as much as they can all night. And they each time they have a beer, they do a little notch thing on their shirts. They got these torn t-shirts, and they invited me over, talk to me, and really, because I was sitting here drinking and eating by myself. I mean, drinking. My second beer. These people are on like 14, 15 beers. They're going to do this till 6 a.m. And their hero is a baseball player who did 75 years. So that's what inspired them to start this tradition like 2 years ago. So, I mean, I love it. And look at the size. So, I was like, so I bought them one of the things. And I'm going to finish my beer and I'm going to head out. But it was very nice of them. You know, I told them this would not happen in the city. This is in the country. Bye for now. Good morning, everybody. It's now the next day, and I'm in the catio. So we've got both of the boys there, Elsie and Finn, looking out the window. We got Agita back there on the chair. And I did tape a little bit yesterday. This has been, you know, predictably a very rough return, just because I went so deep and it was so dangerous. And I also, you know, I went further into shadow than before. You know, I became really, really something that I don't want to face. I mean, you know, the horror, you know, that's when it's Captain Kurtz, you know. And I didn't want to be Captain Kurtz. I wanted to be the other one. I wanted to be Martin Sheen character, you know, Marlowe in the book, you know. But anyway, I kind of turning more into you know, the Marlon Brando character in Apocalypse Now does not meet a good end. But anyway, all that aside, at least I could kind of, you know, I can step back from it and kind of look at all of this. But it was very, very, very deep. So coming back is going to be really rough. It's a rough landing. You know, return to the ordinary world. You come back really changed when you can see where your shadow takes you, and it almost got me killed. So, and I really do think that there was serious, serious danger there that I got myself into. So when I'm in that mode, when I'm, you know, you could say not myself, but really it is myself, because even in the substances, it's still me. I mean, you know. So all of that, it was, you know, so not surprising. It's going to be rough return. So I've been doing, you know, this is where really testing the controlled burns. Did the casinos, and I did go to the local casino yesterday in the day, and I gambled quite a bit, but, you know, I ended up a different kind of addiction, you know, someone who is really, really, really addicted, you know, and like gambles, like, I'm not going to say more, but like, you know, the maximum $7.50 per bet. I do $3. But in the presence of this person, and kind of, you know, I was like doing $4, $5, $6. It was a different experience, kind of gambling with someone else. But it's better than the other thing, that's for sure, you know. So and I didn't lose all that much, because I had only taken the one card with me, and I accessed not that much. And I did walk out when I couldn't get any more money from the bag machine. I walked out, and you know, said I probably see that person in there again. Older person than myself, you know, and really, really gambles. I mean, you know, gambles hard. So that was a little thing, and then afterwards I came home and I rested with the kids, and but the pulse was still very strong. I mean, you know, the casino thing, yeah, for a while it was a distraction, but then pulse was still very strong. Fortunately, there was, you know, just no possibility of getting anything at the time, and I ended up, you know, going to the casino yet again, but this time by myself. And this time I just for like half an hour, and I didn't lose that much. I left even. I didn't go to the $7 level or whatever. I just, you know, back to my usual, you know, $3, just to rechannel the energy more than anything else. It's not about you know, trying to have a win, or, you know, it's about rechanneling. So I kind of got that pace back, and that helped a bit. You know, as I said, the casino was calming for me, you know, but I think only when I'm gambling by myself. So, and then from there I went to the place where the bar, just a, you know, patio, which I like the food there, and the, you know, the atmosphere. It's sort of the other side of town, but and I was having my beer and my ordered a calzone, and this group of young men, you know, they were like on this quest to drink as much as they could. And they do this every year. 2-3 years is a tradition. And each time they have a beer, they take a magic marker and they make a notch on the shirt. And I think they were up to like 14, 15 beers, 20 beers. And there was a guy who won last year, I think twice he won, and I think he 60 beers, something like that, some outrageous amount. So, but they invited me, to join the table. I just had my one beer, but I bought them one of those things that was just like huge, So it was fun, It's like another, watching other people, not so much my thing. I had my one beer, second beer, but it was paced, and it was like, with food. And I just kind of watched them, So that was like but then I was like going, shit, I need my thing, So I tried after that. I went to a place, and I won't say more, but I went to a place where you might be able to find the things that I'm looking for, traditionally. Maybe not here, but usually the substances and the what goes with the substances you can usually find in such establishments. But there, it was not. I ended up just drinking. I just like, okay, the heck with it, and I just drank and drank, and then I left the car there. And it turns out it's only like, it was walking distance. I couldn't get a cab. It was like I saw a cab, I tried to flag it down, they wouldn't stop for me. So I just staggered home. It was like a 20-minute walk, So a cafe that I've considered coming to many times. They have books, but they're more like a games place, board games and stuff like that, And they've got a sort of natural food type of thing, cafe. Okay, this was something I wanted to do and I forgot, so I'm going to put this in, try to edit this thing in. After a binge, I do usually select a tarot card. So I was shuffling the deck, and for some reason, this one, when I was shuffling, this one came up on the top, and this is the one that kind of spoke to me, so let's reveal it. And it's upside down. It's the Magician. I looked it up on my other phone, and holy shit, Magician upside down. So when the Magician card in tarot appears reversed or in a tarot reading, it often signifies loss of focus, lack of self-belief, even manipulation and deception. It can suggest that your potential and talents are not being utilized effectively, or that you are holding yourself back from achieving your goals. More detailed breakdown: misuse of power. Reverse Magician can indicate that you might be misusing your skills or talents, perhaps for selfish or manipulative purposes. Holy shit. And that's exactly what, without going into more detail, but I was told that during the, I think it's kind of true. Lack of confidence, lack of self-belief, confidence in your abilities, missed opportunities, feeling being stuck, manipulation or deception, point to manipulative behavior from yourself or others. It was from me, and it was certainly from others too, and deception kind of both ways, Reversed as a Magician is a reminder to assess your intentions, reassess your intentions, regain your focus, reconnect with your inner power and potential. It's a call to action to use your skills and talents for the highest good and avoid getting bogged down by self-doubt or negative influences. And the influences were very negative, and they were eternal. It was shadow, so very, very accurate, card to put, without going into more detail. I know what it means, and, but trust me, it's very accurate. There was a lot of that going on in me, and it's also coming out in this other stuff with the even the rechanneling, the gambling, and all of that stuff. But I'm trying to get myself back on the track, if it's even possible now. Trying to become the Brando, not the Brando character. I was turning into that, the more Martin Sheen character, the one who returns, sort of. Bye for now. Just after I taped the thing about the reverse Magician tarot card, looked at the time, 5:55, which supposedly signifies transformation and change. Better or worse? Let's hope for the better, but I don't know. Bye for now. It's a while later, and we've got Agita there, and we've got both the boys here. We've got one there, and I think that's lcee, but it could be Finn. And we've got one here, and I think this is Finn, but it could be lcee. Now, I was very caught up Yesterday, I kind of tried to slither, but ended up casino, booze, and then walking home. And then today went and picked up the car, and then, came back, and then had to walk back to get the other car. And I ate at that kind of bookstore, cafe, actually a games place, table games place, cafe. And then casino, and I was really in the pool of it. But the difference is this time, it's like talking to people in the casino. So there was one, casino weasel yesterday that was very, very into it. And then I met another one today who is as addicted as I am. And I pretty much told them the entire story of my control birds. And I've revealed quite a bit about the other stuff. And I mentioned the substances, and I held back a little bit on the details and how. But I did mention that I completely shift and, kind of really really go into shadow, and this person is like sitting gambling, talking to this person who's as addicted to me as me, and I said, look, one of the things about telling you all this is you can go home going, I'm not as fucked up as him, and she kind of laughed, and both of these people, the one yesterday and the one today, older than I am by a few years. 6-7 years. So it was kind of, both women. So it was kind of interesting, and then I go to buy some cat food, and I got into compulsive mode. It happens more when I'm gambling with somebody next to me and talking, but today was better because this person, they're as addicted as I am, but they were willing to laugh about it, and I was more open with them than the one yesterday. The one yesterday, I didn't mention the other addiction on my podcast. So this one I talked about, and it kind of, we kind of laughed about it, even though, the place I go is very, very dark. A very, very dark aspect of myself comes out in that now. But I'm still, the pulls are still there. But I mentioned all about the controlled burns and everything. And then I went to get more money because I ran out. So I accessed from the bank machine, and I was planning on going back, but then I wanted to get some cat food before the Pet Value closed. So I go to the Pet Value, and then I didn't want to leave it in the car because it's hot out there. So, they're pouches, sachets. So I go there, and there are a couple of clerks there, and one of them refers to me by the first name because it's the one on the card, on the membership thing. So and I was kind of joking around with her about the cats and everything, and and they know how much of a cat person I am. But because I'd been in the casino and I've been dealing with all this, and I've talked to the other person, I ended up mentioning the podcast and giving the card and talking about the struggles with addiction and pushes and pulls. And this person has some friends who've been through it, so they kind of, this is one of the pet stories, and they're like going, yeah, I kind of know what you're talking about because I know people who struggle, and I was in full. Kind of naughty prof mode and talking about this and that and feral cats and domestic cats and trying to become domestic and it kind of helped because I was planning on going right to, dropping off the cat food here and going to the casino in Sarnia, but I managed to stay in. I got the boys into this room, and I've got the money, so I could go a few hundred, just to gamble with, and I could go still. I was kind of planning on it, but you know what? I'm not going to. I'm going to actually edit and post the next podcast. And I think I do reveal a little bit more than I usually do, but it's still anonymous, and I'm not giving details and, no locations and no this and no that and nothing to identify anyone, and I'm talking very generally and, so anonymously. So I am going to. There's no point in my going through this shit if I don't, I don't share some of it. And I'm not... In my writing, I go into more detail of what happens to me. I don't whitewash it. And I'll just say here, because, I can't really reveal a lot of details in this forum because other people are involved and there's, anonymity issues and legal issues. So but I'll just say that, it's a lot of shadowy stuff. Really, really shadowy stuff. And I really was very dangerous this last time, but I got out of it. And I have been thinking, metaphorically, the whole thing with Apocalypse Now and Hearts of Darkness and, that metaphor of, Captain Kurtz, the one who didn't return, who faced the horror. And that's the horror is from within. So that's what I'm like, But a long time ago, when I started these podcasts, I had mentioned that analogy and how I wanted to be the other character, the one who returned, not the one who died there, who came into shadow. But unfortunately, I'm kind of going more Kurtz than Marlowe from the book Willard in the movie. So I'm like, and then there's all the other things, William S. Burroughs, and it came up when I was talking to the person at the pet store, supply store. I'm like going, William S. Burroughs, and junkie, and this and that, and how he accidentally killed his wife while he was on heroin. So I'm talking away. So we got all these things. I'm doing it day by day, So we've been pulling out all the control burns, the drinking, the casinos, and then I'm kind of talking about this stuff again generally, but kind of sharing, just in terms of I've been there. The very least I can do is like, is as I told the person in the pet store, the podcasts, and more so the writing, are for the people who are either part of the world and not able to turn back, part of the world and able to turn back, but struggle, pushes and pulls, and also for the civilians who don't know what the world is like, and it can be very, very dark, and it's getting darker for me. So it's really time to pull back, but it's not easy. That's why they call it an addiction. Anyway, that's I don't know how much of this I'm going to edit and how much I'm going to include, but the main thing is we're almost 7 days clear. We're just about approaching 1 week clear, and it's been tough because I went so deep and it got so dangerous, and I did bring it on myself. I'm not blaming anyone else. I put myself in a situation, and I did stuff that had that led to almost getting killed. But that was like but it's a rough world, and it's and it's definite. It's playing with fire, So as I said, the whole control burn. I was talking to the pet store person. The control burn. It is. No, actually, I think the person in the casino. The whole control burn thing is a metaphor, but you're playing with fire. You can't get burned, and I almost got burned. So, 1 day at a time. I don't know how much I'm going to edit, but I will. So, and as I said to the person in the pet store, I mean, it is really because of these people, well, I see them as people, that I am still here, and I will try to stay here as long as I can, as tough as it's going to be. So, from the 7 of us. So, one of the boys there, think it's lcee. One of the boys there, think it's Finn. Agita there, and don't see them now. They're probably under the deck or in the bush where it's cool. So from the 3 ferals as well, Peanut, BC, and Jill, and of course Agita, lcee, Finn, and myself, without the shadow of a doubt. The craziest, nuttiest, most fucked up, without the shadow of a doubt, shadowy, nuttiest, craziest, fucked up professor ever walked the face of this earth. Bye for now. See you next podcast.